No, it's super weird. And like, why? Why did you do that? Apparently 20 minutes.
20-minute orgasm.
Oh, it's a good thing. Then have you ever had like a
20-minute orgasm? No, I'm not.
Sounding me neither. But
Hello, and welcome to Series 2 of DEC Comedian. My name is Ryan Bussell. I'll be your host. In this series, I am talking to comics who got their start during the pandemic. What were they thinking? What was the scene like for them when they started? And how are things for them now that things have returned to normal? Stay tuned and find out. Well, my guest this week is Fredrika Karlsson, so welcome to the podcast.
right as I was ringing in, it's great.
Thank you for doing this.
No, it's gonna be fun. It's an exciting. This is a new podcast, or
Yes, so it's the second season, and I'll probably mention.
second season?
I'll probably mention this in. Yeah, very unknown. I'll probably say this on every episode of this season because it's very, very new to me, podcasting in general. And I did a first season, and everyone in the first season they were either friends or people I at least known for years. And now I'm talking like we met a few times. We don't really know each other that well, and this is really good for me. It's good exercise for me because I'm close to.
I would say that we're coworkers.
Coworkers, I can see that. Yeah, coworkers is good. So it's good for me. I kind of learn some social ability before I turn 50. So that helps.
Do you say that you have? Would you say that you have an issue with that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I've always felt like very socially, like almost inappropriate. Like I'm not. I was even since I was like a little kid. I was never shy. I would just like go up to strangers and be like, "What the fuck's your problem?" Like unprovoked.
I did not have that.
No, I have a new joke that you probably haven't heard yet, but it's about me. I'm gonna spoil it now for everyone, burning the joke. But when I was a kid, I went up to this woman, and I was about 4 at the time, and I go up to her and I say, "Hey, like, are you a mom or are you a dad?" And like, keep in mind, I do not know this woman at all. And she's like, "Well, I'm a mom. Don't you see? I have a skirt." And the thing I respond with is not, "Okay, thanks." It's, "Okay, well, then why do you have a mustache?"
And you were 20 at the time?
I usually swear in my routine. That's why I stutter a little bit.
Oh, feel free to swear on this. It's gonna be okay. I'm gonna not be demonetized on YouTube or.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's problems.
Keep it PG.
Yes. Have you enjoyed your summer or the summer that was?
This summer, you mean? Yeah, I've been working. I have vacation. I have holiday in 2 weeks.
Okay.
So counting down the days.
How long are your vacation for?
3 weeks.
Nice.
This time. So I'm saving up a few days for winter.
When I first moved here, because in America we don't get time off at all. When I first moved here, my first job, I had 6 weeks vacation.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah, it is very nice. But I was talking to my neighbor at the time, I told him, I can't believe it's 6 weeks vacation. And he said, and he was like, and he was very, very Swedish. Also from the north, by the way, as you are. He's like, yeah, but like, you have to take a month off in summer.
Yeah.
So it's really just like having 2 weeks
blended,
vacation.
Yeah.
And then it kept going. And he said and then when you're off for a month, like the first week, you still think about work a lot. And then the last week, you think about work again. So it's like, again, like only I wanted to kill him. I was like,
so angry.
People I have no idea how good it is here.
No, it feels a bit awkward because at work we work a lot with international clients, and mostly like America. So it feels a bit awkward. It's like when we're saying like, "Hey, our head of business is going to be off for about 5 weeks, so you can't contact us." And Americans are like, "What? Like, what do you mean be off for 5 weeks?"
Yeah, that doesn't work for us. It's amazing that it works at all. Somehow it does. I remember it was one year. This is a long story, but one year I got into a nasty car crash. Mm-hmm. I had to get an MRI, and from the MRI, and I was heavily concussed. And they told this happened in the States. I was there visiting. Trying to make a long story short. Anyway, so the doctor at the hospital, they discharged me, and they said, so you were okay, you're heavily concussed. By the way, in the MRI, we noticed a cyst on your brain, and it's most likely benign, but you should get that checked. And I was like, oh, okay. So I came back to Sweden, and I called like the community service and said, can I get a check? This was like in July. And the woman said, "Oh, can you come in 3 weeks?" And I said,
So
"No,
there's a cyst on my
there's something in my
brain."
brain. I'd like to get this checked right away." And she's like, "Okay, can you come in 2 weeks?" And she saw because all the doctors were all on vacation.
Oh my god, that's a bad one.
And it is true. I looked into it. It actually is true that most like murder cases they go unsolved in Sweden, they happen during summer because the cops are on vacation.
That's so bad. Like,
So if you're gonna kill someone, do it now. Now's the time.
That feels like it's a very inappropriate jobs where we do not sparse out the vacations. Because I'm in VFX, like we're not saving lives.
Right.
We could take vacation. Nobody's gonna die if we don't work for 4 weeks. But I mean, cops and doctors might want to keep some coverage on that.
You mentioned just now that you talked to a lot of Americans in your job. Like, did you pick up? Because you have what I would call an American accent.
Yeah, the general American.
Yeah, exactly right.
I think that's from movies.
It's from movies.
Mostly, yeah. Now the thing is, I learned English very early on because my parents would use English to talk secrets, like what are they buying for Christmas or birthday presents. And I was always such a curious kid, and it was fairly easy for me to learn new languages when I was little. So I was just like studying it so hard, and I was watching movies, and I was picking things up until I finally like knew what they were talking about. It's like, ha, gotcha.
Okay.
So I think it was just purely out of curiosity and maybe a little bit of spite that I learned it.
And were you siblings, brothers, sisters, or?
Well, I have a brother who's 10 years older than me. I'm not really sure. Like, he was 18 when I was aware of my surroundings. Like, I was just like a kid.
Okay.
So we never really had that close-knit relationship as kids. And my sister, she's 7 years older than me, so like we kind of missed each other growing up. So I don't know a whole lot about their upbringings like that.
Good. I was curious because you mentioned being like kind of precocious child and being very upfront. Like for me, like as a kid, I was latchkey, what we call a latchkey kid.
Oh,
where
yeah,
my parents all worked, so it was when school was over, I would walk home alone, let myself in, and I was not allowed to have anyone in the house or like to have like zero social interaction of any kind for quite a long time, which I think has left me kind of socially stunted as an adult.
I'm not sure, like we never really had that sort of vibe because I'm from a very small town, like 40,000 people in the whole commune or municipality, and like 20,000 in the city core where I grew up. So it's like a very small town, and we grow up near to all our classmates. So we would just spend the afternoons at someone's home making like snacks and talking, chatting. So nobody was ever really alone. And then we always had like after school we have something called fritids. Don't you have kids? No?
I have a daughter, yeah.
Yeah, doesn't she go to fritids like after school?
Not anymore. She's 19. She just
she's
graduated. Yes, she's on permanent free now. She's just graduated. So.
Okay, well then congratulations to her. But no, so we just like spent our time there. So I was never really that alone when thinking about peers and stuff. I'm sorry, yeah.
You're still in shot, yeah. But also, it's a little weird for me too because you're from the north. One thing I've noticed with Swedes, like the Swedish language is it's not a very emotional language.
No.
But being from the north, I've noticed like a lot of times when Swedes speak English, it's like the emotion leaves, and it becomes very flat. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times, like my first boss in Sweden was from the north, and he only spoke English with me, and it was like the hardest job interview I ever went through because in the interview he was like, we saw your resume and we were very excited to see it, and I was so flat. Like, I didn't like did he mean it or not, or was he just saying it? But most people I talk to from the north, they are like that. They're very flat. But you are not. I wouldn't say that you are that way.
I would say that I'm pretty monotonous when it comes to Swedish.
Really?
Yeah. The dialect is not very, because if you compare it to Stockholm, the dialect is very up and down, even when they speak English. But I feel like in general, when I speak with my home dialect, I don't have any strong like emotional fluctuations in either way. If I'm angry or if I'm happy, it's just like that.
Very flat.
I don't know where the emotions come in, like speaking English. I've always felt more comfortable doing that actually, like growing up.
Compared to your friends there as well, or the?
No, compared to myself, like if I'm usually more comfortable with the English language than I am with Swedish. I find that it's easier. It's a more imaginative language, you know. Like I have a lot more words for things in English.
It is bigger. It's 10 times. It's literally 10 times the size of Swedish. So it's,
So
it's a
I
big
have more
language.
things to play around with.
I always thought it was very cool. Like Swedish is so small, and yet there are such specific words
Yes.
that you don't use for anything else. Like so bed. Like this is stupid, but like beda. So to make the bed. There's a verb that's just to make a bed. That's the only way you use it is only in that context.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
It's like that. We have so few words, but still we're gonna have very.
But then we also have those words that are like you have one word for 2 or 3 different things, like log. Because that's both a law and a team.
Yeah.
So we just like kind of save the effort where it needs to be saved.
Well, there's another English comic in Sweden has a huge joke about val because it means vote and whale.
Oh,
so,
yeah. Which one?
James Mackay has a joke about that.
Oh, I don't know if I've seen him.
He's not around a lot.
No?
He'll probably be around more this fall, allegedly. He always says that, but he's.
And also, I've been thinking like I've been very low key this spring. I haven't been down to Big Ben as much as I would have wanted to. It's just I don't have the energy.
Yeah.
It's like I have an adult job now. I have to do shit.
I definitely want to get there because I want to ask you about exactly that point. But before we get to that, let's roll back and start from the beginning. So so I want to talk to you because you started during the pandemic. When was your debut?
I think it must have been like late November, early December. Depends on which debut you're counting. Because I counted as I had 2 debuts. I did because I did this little. It was like a stand-up class-ish. There was 6 weeks, and then we had to perform like a minute in front of an audience. And I did that mostly because I wanted to get out of the house. I was like bored out of my mind, staring at the same 4 walls for forever. And I was like, I gotta do something. And I was also new in Stockholm. I didn't have a lot of friends here. So I figured like this is a good opportunity to get out, do something that I enjoy, and maybe meet some new people. And I think I did that. The show, like at the end of that class, I didn't end of November, but then I didn't get to Big Ben until like December.
So your debut was it in the classroom then?
Okay. So I would rather say that I did my debut at Big Ben.
Yeah, I would agree.
That feels more because that was my own doing. That wasn't anybody else pulling the strings. So that was me just like going, like spreading my wings.
So you just went there and asked for time.
Yeah, I think I had like I was friends with Daniel Sanchez, and I was asking like how do I get a spot, and so I asked him like how do I get a spot, and he said like hey let me text Thomas for you, and he did, and then I got a spot, and then it went really well, so I got more spots, and that's just like it kind of like went on a roll.
Okay. Kind
of lost the reins of it a little bit.
Which course did you go to? Who was the teacher?
Malin Appeltoft.
Okay.
At the improvisationsstudio. I'm not gonna say like it's not a bad course, but it felt like working a lot with what you already had. I think I was expecting a lot more feedback from it, but it was definitely a good opportunity to try and to get more confidence in the stand-up game.
Yeah, it seems like a good way to start.
Yeah, I don't think I would have dared to do it just like off the bat. So I needed those 6 weeks to really try, and because I think if I would have gone on Big Ben like totally fresh, it would have been horrible, and I would have never tried it again.
And what was your expectation going into it? Had you been to see stand-up before the pandemic? Like, did you have an idea what the clubs were like before?
Not necessarily live. I'd seen like a lot of shows on Netflix, but you can't really compare starting out with those kind of experiences. But I think it's always been present in my world. Like my stepdad used to love stand-up, so we had a lot of those shows, like on the family computer when you download from like LimeWire.
Right.
So you have that dude who does the trailer voice. I don't know what's his name. Like
I know exactly what you mean, but I have no idea. I don't know him, but yeah, trailer guy, movie trailer guy.
And what was it? I think Fluffy maybe. Or his name's not Fluffy, and he has a show called Fluffy.
Gabriel Iglesias. Yes.
That's the guy. And also that guy, not Bo Burnham, but he also has a guitar and he sings. And he had this song about Special Ed who was dropped on his head.
Oh, you might be thinking of, I never remember his name. He also did The Wedding Singer on Broadway, if I'm thinking of the right person. Yes, I know who you mean.
Yeah,
I
I
don't remember the name yet.
the name of it for the life of me. And then we had like Johan Glans and Magnus Betnér, a lot of clips from like raw comedy. It was super fun to watch, and I think it might have started then, but it wasn't an active thought in my head until like 2021.
Okay, and what did you think? Because so by end 21, we were mentioning earlier, it's towards the tail end of the pandemic,
Yeah.
but I guess there were still restrictions in place for the crowds. So were they big? Were they?
Honestly, didn't really notice it that much. I think that by that time you were still allowed to be like 50 people in a room. At least in the places that I had, because there were like the first ever gig I did was like 50 people, but it was a company gig.
Mm-hmm.
So there was this company who had bought like all the tickets, so I think that had less restrictions. And at Big Ben, I don't think I even registered really how many people there were. It felt like it was full, but that could have also been because I was so nervous.
Right.
I was like, oh my god, 1 people is too.
And how early did you do a company gig? Where was that at?
That was the first, like the 1 minute show.
Oh,
after the stand-up course.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, so it was down at Star Comedy. I'm not sure if he's still doing that, or was it Comedy Star? Comedy Bar?
Oh, Sam Star. Yeah, that place has been like under construction. They've been under renovation for.
So that hasn't been open in a while, but it was like in the basement where he had. I think that it was a regular stand-up night, but it was just like a company who had bought all the tickets.
Okay.
Could have been something like that. Honestly, I don't even remember that gig. I just went on stage, blacked out for a full minute, then came down, and someone said, "That was really good," and I was like, "Oh, okay, if you say so."
Well, you impressed me early on because we like I guess I think it was like the first real conversation we actually had. It was more than 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Was a Mafia
Mm-hmm.
which we are actually filming at Mama right now. It was during the show. It might have been your first appearance here. I'm not quite sure. It was early on.
Yeah.
And I said to you what I say to everyone who comes here for the first time. I said something along the lines of, everyone thinks the club owner is like very intimidating, but like don't worry, he's actually very easy to get along with. And you said that you had actually heard a lot of like comics say things about him, but you prefer to actually meet people and make up your own mind.
Yeah.
And I thought, like, wow, who is this unicorn? Because comics love gossip.
I love drama, don't get me wrong. Like, if you have some tea, please spill it. But I'm also, I feel like opinions and words can be messed up so much when you're hearing it from like word of mouth to another.
Yeah, it turns into the telephone game.
So you played it. You know how much it messes. Like a simple sentence can get so messed up in a circle of 8 people. So just hearing a lot of rumors could be individual experiences. But so I'd rather meet the person, but of course I'm gonna take it into account. I'm human.
Right, of course.
So I'm always gonna have that in the back of my head, but also I wouldn't want to be judged beforehand. So it could have been, I just want people to give me that benefit of the doubt.
That's good add to that.
Yeah.
And speaking of the clubs now, like I mentioned the pandemic, as you came in during the tail end, and now it's all, I joke on stage, I say now it's like AIDS. It's in the past. It's solved. It's in the solved. It doesn't affect anyone anymore, so it's all over now.
Didn't someone get like the cured of AIDS?
I certainly hope so.
I've
heard that.
It was the one case, but still, it's going in the right direction.
Yeah, that's good.
But yeah, now it's feeling, I don't know, it's like, I think I had my busiest like period last fall, where I was doing like a lot of gigs, a lot of weeknight gigs, a lot of weekend gigs, and I'm trying to cut that down now, because I don't really prefer doing weekday gigs, because I get 1 day off.
Okay.
I love my free time. I mean, that PlayStation has got to get some attention as well.
I know exactly how you feel, because I live outside Uppsala.
Yeah.
Knivsta, it's like
So
that's outside.
for you to get
It takes a long time to get in here, and like I thought again, I told this on stage too, but I thought when the pandemic started, I had no job, there was no stand-up, I didn't go anywhere, like I went to the gym, that's pretty much the only thing I did, and I was afraid that I was going to lose my mind.
Oh yeah,
But the opposite, like I love being home. Like it's great.
Yeah, you did. It becomes like such a homebody.
Yeah, I watch this. I got like Netflix. I got like a PlayStation 5 now. I can like video games. I can just sit and do nothing. I'm too comfortable at home.
Oh,
So I'm still trying to like recover from that.
Yeah, the thing is like I'm a little bit embarrassed about how much I love when people cancel plans.
Yeah.
It's just like I make plans to hang out, and then someone's like, "Hey, I'm sick, I can't go out," and you're just like kind of have to fake that. It's like, "Oh no, that's so sad." And then meanwhile, you're just like loading up with popcorn and the latest game you have.
So you're very much an extrovert introvert thing. That's classic introvert behavior. Is that the whole like thing?
No, actually, like I've heard a lot of talk about, "Hey, I'm such an introvert, I'm such an extrovert," but the thing is like I love talking to people. I go crazy if I don't talk to people, but I also love spending time on my own. I've grown to like my own company, especially during the pandemic where you couldn't really hang out with people. It's just like, well, I've got to find ways to entertain myself and to do the things that I like. So instead of just being mad that you can't do shit that you want to do, just find new shit that you want to do.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I've never had a problem being alone. Again, as a kid, I really had to find my own fun before internet and before computers and everything else.
Oh man, that's such a tragic.
I had action figures and there was cartoons on TV. So.
Your own imagination, that sounds
I know. Well, back then, that's gone. The imagination is totally gone.
Yeah, does that disappear with age?
It's not just age.
No.
Okay. Oh.
Is it routine?
This was I told a story to people that I now we barely know each other, so it's a dirty joke, but it is the truth. I was getting a fertility test here in Sweden, and they sent me to like a little room like down. I had to go to the hospital. I had to go down the hall. I went to a little room, and there was like a sofa bed.
Yeah.
There was a picture of a woman's like mouth, like she was like on the wall, like all close up, like all you saw, like it was supposed to set the mood. And they had a dirty magazine.
But that was all?
That's all. And all I thought like
in the US you would have like a TV.
This was in Sweden. This was in Sweden. This happened in Sweden.
Oh yeah, but I'd be like, have you done the test in the US?
No. This is more recent. So
yeah, because I see on TV like ever so often they do this thing about someone having to give a sperm sample or something on TV. And then they come into a room and there's this there's a TV and you have
the whole thing.
A whole roster of pornos that you can choose from. But did you?
Not here. So I joked on. When I told the story on stage, I said I had like kind of shake the magazine to pretend there was movements. Yeah, because imagination is since gone. But yeah, I think I don't think it's an age thing. I think it's a technology thing.
Oh yeah, could be. Damn it. I love my phone too much.
Like, can you imagine like going back like now, like, well, you're younger than I am also, but if you go back like when you were 6 years old, your mind with your mind now, you'd probably with your mind now, but you would go back in time, like you put your mind now into your 6-year-old self, but then no phone, less internet.
That's for sure. No, I don't think I can do that. Like maybe sure when you're 6 years old, but now and all the hormones and a growing body. No, thank you. I'm good where I
am. So things went really fast for you though, because you're doing Big Ben and you've done Raw. Like I've seen your face and your name like pop up like kind of all over the place.
I've done Raw and I did like a stint at Norra Brunn, but I haven't asked to come back. I think that's what's necessary. And then I got to go down to Gothenburg, and I've been in Skåne, I've been in Gotland. I actually went up north for a gig. But it was just like, it went so fast that I did not have control of it. It was not me pulling the reins on that. It was just people saying like, hey, do you want to come? And I think it was sort of the new shiny thing.
That you were the new shiny thing,
yeah,
or
it was kind of like I did I did put a lot of balls in the, or how do you say that?
Balls in motion.
Balls in
Okay,
motion.
okay, yeah.
So I did put a lot of balls in motion, but I didn't expect it to come to fruition so fast. I was thinking like this is probably like a 4-year kind of plan or a 5-year kind of plan. But then people just took me up on it. And I was like, oh shit, I don't know if I'm prepared for this. I just want it to be seen and heard so that you know about me when the time comes.
How did the big gigs, so Norbrun and Raw, like was it the biggest clubs in
I just
Stockholm?
asked.
You
And
asked?
and I thought that they were going to say like, hey, no, but come back later. That was my expectation of it. But they were just like, yeah, come on, like, show us what you got. And I was like, oh my god. And then they booked me for several more shows. And then I just went with it.
Well, I'm curious for your take here, and I hope it's not a sensitive issue. But I can say, like, for myself, like, I'm an English-speaking comic in Sweden, and there are like, comics can be great with to each other, and they can also be pretty shitty to each other. So there are a lot of like Swedish comics who are like kind of like English comics have it so easy, like all like.
Why would they have it easy?
Oh, because all we have to do is like say words like Swedish words like fart and cock, and they sound like dirty English words. That's funny, and that's all we have to do to get laughs. And unfortunately, they're right. I was at Big Ben recently, and I heard an English comic go on stage and tell the crowd that it's crazy that the word for 66 in Swedish is 66.
Oh,
I just want to like kill myself, but the audience is laughing, so if they laugh, then that's.
I think that Swedish people in general love to laugh about themselves.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like when you're saying like, oh, silly Swedes, and they're just, haha, yes, we're so silly.
And there's some things like there are certainly gigs I got. Like you have to have talent, and you have to have like I think you have to have talent, and you have to have a lot of luck, and you have to have like a little something special, a little something extras. In my case, it's the English. So there's gigs I got because I have talent, but also because I'm an English-speaking comic. Just like there's gigs I didn't get because I'm an English-speaking comic.
I mean, a lot of the bigger clubs like Raw and Norrbrunn, they don't necessarily do a lot of English shows.
Yeah, that's what I always hear. They always hear that, especially Norrbrunn, that they have a kind of bias against English comics. But then Al Pitcher's there, so at some point, talent overcomes the bias.
At some point. But I think Al Pitcher kind of draws enough crowd, so they're making money
for sure. Yeah. So if there are any disadvantages of being an English-speaking comic, like I wouldn't choose a different way. I'm happy with it. I'm happy with how it is. And I think for women in comedy, I'll never know what it's like to be a woman in comedy. I've heard a lot of horror stories, and there's like a lot of things that I'll never have to worry about, which is nice.
I mean, fortunately, I feel like I've been pretty spared from that as of right now, but I've only been like a year and a half in the business, so I'm sure it will come, or I'm sure I've been denied gigs because of it. But I'm not like I can't say that it's anything that I've been able to point out at this moment. But I also do know like I have a lot of female colleagues that have talked to me about it, and some of the stories are actually horrible. So I'm not looking forward to it.
Makes sense. Yeah, because there's there are definitely some like disadvantages that I'll never have to worry about. There are of course some advantages also that I will not get to take advantage of either. Like I'm sure you probably understand that if you had you been Fred Karlsson, you probably wouldn't have like jumped into Raw so soon. Most likely.
I don't think I would. I think that yeah, maybe that was in part because I'm a woman, but also because I was new, but also like I feel like I'm being a little bit exotified when I'm doing Swedish comedy because I have the northern accent. So people are like, "Ooh, she's from Norrland. That's so spicy. That's so exciting. Let's hear what she has to say about Stockholm. Haha, we're so silly."
That was a very good American accent.
Thank you.
That's a big thing for me because whatever advantages we have, we should never apologize for it or make excuses for it.
Use it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's very good.
Anytime you want to give me stuff because I have privileges in this business, like fuck yeah.
Just my only request, because you're early on, is please don't like confuse one for the other, because I've known a lot of comics who they kind of confuse like that thing that makes them a little special. They confuse that for talent. Like for example, I headlined a show years ago out in the countryside because I had a car. Like
Oh.
literally, because I drove comics from Stockholm a few hours west,
Oh yeah.
so I got the headline. And if I didn't have any talent, then I wouldn't have headlined.
No.
But if I didn't have a car,
you
they wouldn't have
either
thought of
like
me as a
that,
headline. So they kind of go hand in hand. But I mean, I know comics, both very successful and otherwise, who would say like, the car had nothing to do with it. Like I got to do it because I'm that good. It's like, no, you need to have like a little like humility and things.
I mean, yeah, sure, but also I don't think that you should discount talent or experience at all. I think that if you were shit, the car wouldn't have mattered.
Exactly.
So yeah, like a good. But then again, I don't know. I don't have a car, so they've had to pay for every one of my trips.
Does it affect how? Because like you have been offered quite a bit.
Yeah.
Like it's good to hear that you've also asked, but a lot come your way.
Also, like, I think that I also enjoy the networking part of the job, and I think that's why I come to mind, because I have a fairly easy time, especially talking to new people. That feels like, hey.
What's that like?
No, it's just when you keep it superficial, I feel like it's fairly easy. Getting to know me, however, that shit's scary. Like, when you say, oh, what do you like to do? Oh, I don't fucking know. Like, don't look at me.
Yeah, that's a big difference thing between Americans and Swedes. Like I would say, it's almost just like you're saying. It's very easy to get to know people on the surface level.
Yeah.
I think in general it's very hard to get to know Swedes on any level. But I feel like, because like in America we're gonna open like the open door like this much to pretty much everyone. And Sweden, I find like if you decide like you're gonna open up this much to someone, you really open up way more. Like just, I would say more. A larger percentage is like that here in Sweden than in the United States, which I prefer that. I like that.
Yeah, and that's actually a good. How would you say spawning? Like a good
observation or a good.
No, when we say like bra spawning, we mean that you've seen something, you've noted something.
Okay.
But
observation.
Yeah, observation. Actually talked about this with my mom, because we have family in the U.S. So we've been there, like from time to time.
Where in the U.S.?
New York.
Okay, like city or north?
No, like Jersey border.
Okay, nice.
And they have a house in Florida too. I'm not sure where they live now. I'm like embarrassingly out of touch with them. I don't think they really like Florida, so I think they're gonna move back. Anyway, off topic. But yeah, a lot of Americans seem like super nice. They will definitely like, yeah, come over, have a drink, but they won't like be your best friend. Which is very welcoming as a tourist, but I don't think that I would want to live there, because I think like making like deep connections would be like hard.
It is.
Yeah.
It's hard. Not that it's easy here either, but I don't know. It's weird. We have like more hope.
That the race is lost here.
No, I met someone, this is a long time ago, he was Swedish, he went to the United States to study, he was in college. After class one day, his professor was talking to him and said, like, oh, you're from Sweden? And he said, oh, my wife has Swedish heritage, Swedish in her background. And he said, you know, I have a house on the lake, you should come over sometime, we'll barbecue, I can take you out a little boat, I can take you out on the lake. And this guy was like so excited. And then it never happened. The invitation never actually, because it was just... That's us. We're very much like that. We're very.
I hate that. If you don't want me to come, then don't invite me. I'm not gonna be mad that you don't invite me, but I'm gonna be mad if you lie about the invitation. That's just so rude.
I met so many different Swedes who all independently told me the same story. They went to the United States. They met someone on the street. The other person asked them how are you? Mm-hmm. And then the Swede was like responding to them and didn't understand why the other person was still like walking away. Like, I'm telling you how I am.
You asked a question, I'm just like trying to oblige.
I like that. It's like here, it's like not as many people will say hello, will ask you how you are, but when they do, they actually mean it, which is, I like that.
You kind of expect, like, if you ask, like, how are you doing, you kind of expect, like, whatever's coming out of your mouth right now, I'm gonna have to deal with this. So, some people just say good and move on, but some people will tell you how they're doing. And then, well, you've made a commitment by asking.
Yeah, well, the answer to how are you in America is good. How are you?
Oh,
or you can just say how are you. Someone say how are you? How are you? You just repeat back. You don't even have to say how you are. It's
I'm never gonna accept that. I'm just gonna next time I meet an American person who is like, how are you? I'm just gonna tell them my whole life story. It's gonna follow.
There you go. To your whole thing.
Yeah. You sit here and listen.
The only like kind of shallow thing about the United States I do miss is like if I go to the U.S. to visit my family or whatever, I have to like relearn to look strangers in the eye again.
Oh, because you don't do it here.
Because you don't do it here. Because here, like if you
walk,
walk,
why would you?
Because it's very simple. Like you just walk down the street and it's just like I see you exist. It's just like you occupy space.
It's a very aggressive tactic.
That's not at all. My wife, this is years ago, she gave me, like in the newspaper, I forget her name, but there's like kind of like a Miss Manners woman in the newspaper. You can like write in questions and she'll answer them. And this old woman had written in saying, my family thinks I'm very unfriendly because every day I take the bus from my apartment building. At the same time, it's always the same people at the bus stop. I see them every day, but I don't say hello or do anything. My family think that's rude. I don't think that I should. What do you think? And if I would answer, I would say like you don't need to have like long, deep conversations with people you don't know, but you can still say hello or a nod or something. But Swedish Miss Manners responded, "No, of course you don't. Of course not. Of course you don't have to say hello or do anything." And that I think is kind of shitty. Just like.
But of course
you take space, like you said.
But you also don't know these people. You don't know if they want to talk to you. Like maybe they're having a rough morning, or maybe they're not like very talkative. Maybe they find it very uncomfortable that you were just like, hello. I don't know. No, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't.
That was also my first time in Sweden. This is years and years ago. So it was Christmas of like '95, I think. I was here with my first wife, visiting her family in Uppsala. We were at Christmas time, and we were Christmas shopping, and like these little shops in Uppsala, and it was really, really crowded, and people were kind of like bumping into me left and right, and there were times when I had to go through like a narrow aisle, and I had to bump past someone. So I asked her like, "How do you say excuse me?" I had no idea, and she kind of like paused for a second, and she's like, "Well, you say ursäkta, but we don't really say that." So why would you not say that? And she said because. Like you want to say it because you have to get past someone. So you have to get past someone. That's you're kind of being rude. But if you also engage them by saying ursäkta, it's like you're being rude twice. So it's better just to be rude once and just go.
I would just do like this little, and then hope that they move. And if they don't, I'll just lightly hover on their back because they will feel it, and then they'll move. So then you walk past.
But I really want to do an experiment in this country where I want to see how hard I can like hit someone by accident with like no actual interaction. Oh. I've had so many times like someone like almost knocked me over, and then like they don't even paw it, like not even like not even nothing. It's
Oh, I did that this weekend.
Really?
No, I was at Lollapalooza, which is a festival. I don't know if you've been. But we were. I remember
when it started.
And we were running from one stage to another, and I was like holding on to my group of friends, and I was trying to keep my eyes on the friend in the back because I didn't want him to get lost. And they were just like running zigzag between people, and I just like run straight into someone, and they got so angry, and I was like, first of all, do not want to have this confrontation. Second of all, gotta run. So I just ran away.
So how was it in the north compared to Stockholm then? Because every time I mention the whole like no eye contact, kind of like what I would say is unfriendly to people in Stockholm, the people say, oh, but it's not like that everywhere. It's like that everywhere that I've seen. I've been all over the country, but
I would say they were friendlier.
In the north, okay.
Yeah, but it's just like it's so few people. Because if I'm out on a walk, like a late night walk, and I meet someone, I'll say hello.
Really? I thought that means as an indication that you're a lunatic if you say hello to a stranger.
In the north, it's a different thing, especially if they have a dog. You just kind of say hello, but you're mostly saying that to the dog. But I don't know, it's just a different vibe because you're the two only people walking there. It's like not. I don't know how to explain it. It's just a different vibe. Like you can say hello and it's not rude because you're not taking up anyone's time.
Okay.
Like they're not doing shit. They're just out walking.
But you also said that that's like not a good thing.
I wouldn't do it like at the bus stop here, because that would be weird. But if I'm out walking,
why is it weird though?
I don't know. It's just weird because it's Stockholm. Like nobody talks to people here. But
in the north, at a bus stop in the north, would you do it there?
Not at a bus stop. But if it's
Never a bus stop. Okay, I'm going to take notes. Never a bus stop anywhere in the country. But I can say hello in the north. But yeah.
If you are walking and that's the only person that's also walking, so you're only two people, then you can say hello.
Okay.
But if you're walking in like one direction and then you see a person and then two people and then a person again, you don't say hello to any one of those. That's how it is.
I was in one year. I was walking the street in Malmo, like to the south, and walking on the street, the sidewalk, and a woman kind of came towards me, and she looked me right in the eye, smiled, and said hello, and I was like, "What? That doesn't have, was that a tourist? Am I just especially attracted today? Or yeah, that's just weird. We don't do that here."
Someone's escaped from the sideboard. Please come pick her up.
But that's what I'm gonna say. Is like if I feel like when I go to the U.S., if I go to the U.S. like for a month to visit, I have to kind of retrain my mind to actually look strangers in the eye again. But then when I come back, I have to retrain my brain again to not do it because it's screwed both ways.
It's kind of like that experiment. Like if you see upside down, it takes a while to adjust.
What experiment is that?
Haven't you heard of it?
No.
No, because apparently, so I don't know how correct this is, but apparently you see the world upside down. It's just that the brain, like your brain flips it.
That's true.
Yeah, okay, so that's true. But there was like there's research, I don't know, but they put glasses on people that turn the world right side up. But then the brain was like, no, this is upside down. Can't see it. But it took 3 days for the brain to adjust. So that on the third day they were seeing the world normally again. But then they took
with the glasses on.
Yeah,
okay.
But then they took the glasses off. And then the world is upside down again for 3 days. It's like a period of adjustment.
It's a fun experiment too because it has like what application does it have to anything. It's just like
I don't know. We got funding.
Like let's see what happens if people don't breathe for 5 minutes at a time. Just no oxygen. Just see what happens.
Or that like the experiment where they found out exactly how long a pig orgasms. That's also a super weird thing. Like, why? Why did you do that? Apparently 20 minutes.
20-minute orgasm.
Oh, to be a pig.
Or are they faking it for 20 minutes?
I don't know how they measured that. I guess we'll have to ask.
I'll just
or
picture
maybe it was just like a male scientist and he was like, I know.
I was just picturing Fernando, the comic Fernando has a bit about like the male pig would go away if like it's such a stud, but then the female pig pulls up the vibrator and just like does it for real.
But have you ever had like a
20-minute orgasm? No, I have not.
Sadly, me neither. But I also have guy friends who are like, oh, trust me, I would know if she faked it. I was just like, no, you wouldn't. Because those are also the guys who say that no woman has ever faked it with me.
Of course, it's its own ego thing.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
Like if you really knew when they were faking it, at least one would have.
Who has that joke? Oh, it's gonna drive me crazy now. I can't remember. Someone has a joke. It's a guy comic who says, "No woman ever." I think it's Brent. I think it's Brenning. Brenning has. I think he has it.
Maybe.
He said that like no woman has ever faked an orgasm with me. Like no woman ever like cared enough to bother to even try to fake it.
But that's a funny take on it. Instead of just like they're always orgasming. I'm such a god. That's way less charming.
Yeah, I feel like if someone wanted to go through much effort, then who am I to judge? I appreciate that. All right, good.
I appreciate the effort. Thank you.
The weird thing is I met a few guys who have admitted to faking in the past, and they're like, oh, how and why?
About that. Like, how would a guy fake it?
If wearing condom.
Yeah, but wouldn't you notice afterwards?
I guess if you're like, look over there, and they.
What's that? I totally fall for that. I'm just like, what?
Now you're gonna think about it. It's like, oh, maybe it has. Yeah.
Could have. Like, if they wanted to fake it, then, as you said, who am I to judge?
it's also a weird insecurity thing too, like to want to fake it. You can just say like, this is not gonna happen
I
now.
feel like also it could be like not wanting the confrontation. At least for girls, it can be kind of like, you're doing it wrong, but I don't have the energy to teach you how to do it right, and I don't want you to feel super sad that I have to take care of your ego afterwards. So it's just going to be easier on us all if I fake it.
Just fake it. Just
it's
get it.
just going to be over. And then I don't have to deal with it anymore.
What a wonderful experience sex must be. It's like,
Well, yeah, I've done that to get out of it.
Your boyfriend must be so happy.
Never with him. It would be so obvious.
Wink. You can see you crossing your fingers then.
No, poor thing. I hope he doesn't watch this.
Is he a Stockholmer?
No, he's also from the north.
Did you bring with you, or you just happen to meet here?
No, we actually met. Like our story is kind of funny because we met in another town in the north. Which neither of us are from. And he was there, he had been studying university there. And I was just there for one night visiting my friend. And I lived in Stockholm at the moment.
Okay.
So we met at a bar and we clicked quite instantly. And then I find out when we're talking that 3 weeks later he's going to move down to Stockholm. So I did nothing to import him. He was bound for Stockholm anyway.
It makes me feel a little suspicious.
Why?
Like he meets you in the bar up north, and it's like, oh, you live in Stockholm. What a coincidence! I'm gonna move to Stockholm. What was your address again?
No,
Yeah.
he had his own apartment lined up and everything. So no.
Okay, that's good. That was definitely not spontaneous then. No one spontaneously gets an apartment lined up in Stockholm.
No. Like that was planned like several months before. I just happened to be at the right place at the right time.
And you're lucky to live in Stockholm, which is nice. I'll turn crazy. I know like Swedes are so afraid of having like tall buildings in Stockholm. We don't want to ruin the skyline.
What?
Exactly. If you're worried about ruining the skyline, just make every building like 4 floors higher. Like just make every building like
What are you ruining the skyline? Isn't that?
That's the argument about it.
Isn't the whole big thing of having a skyline was having like a bunch of different tall buildings?
Yeah, you're saying that as a non-Swede. You have to use your Swedish mind. Your Swedish mind is lagom. You don't stand out. God forbid you just stand out or be anything special.
We need more apartments.
I completely agree. But yeah, that is the argument. We don't want to ruin the skyline. Have you done the Sky Globe? I know Globen has that kind of thing on the side.
No, I actually haven't, but I really want to.
It's fun to do it.
Yeah.
But it's boring because Stockholm has no skyline. Like cities have like skylines. Stockholm is it's a beautiful city, but the skyline is just
but
a line.
You not enjoy any other Swedish town. I think Stockholm has most of the skyline.
No, Gothenburg has much more of a skyline than Stockholm.
Well, either way.
You don't have to hate Gothenburg. You're not really from here.
No, I don't hate Gothenburg. I just find like all my experiences with Gothenburg is the bad weather. It's just super windy. It's kind of gray and it always rains. That's my experience of Gothenburg.
This is my fear. So my wife and my kid and I, we just like yesterday planned, because we're not, every summer we go to the U.S. but not this year, unfortunately.
Yeah.
We still want to do something fun, and so we thought, well, we'll go to the West Coast. I've never been I've been to Gothenburg, but I've never really explored the West Coast. I've never been in the sea on that side. So we planned like a week. We're gonna do a road trip. We're gonna camp 4 nights. We're gonna do a hotel 1 night, and just go like from like north of Gothenburg, like south almost all the way to Malmo, and explore. And there's a lot in a few weeks, and I really hope it's nice weather, because if it's shit weather, it's gonna suck. But I mean, it's a roll of dice. I have no idea.
I think it's not gonna necessarily be worse there than it is in Stockholm. I mean, Stockholm has bad weather too, and there are some really beautiful spots on the West Coast. So I would definitely just take the chance.
What are you gonna do during your vacation? Just hang out, or are you gonna go?
I'm hoping for Croatia, but
okay.
I think my boyfriend is looking at destinations, and I've just said that if I get to swim or dive, I'm happy. But if I also get to like drink coffee and go to museums, I'm also happy. So either way, you pick.
Are you happy to let him decide everything? Like what?
Yeah, I actually am.
Do you prefer that to
him
like something?
I can go to the airport airport and then just be done with it for real. And we've had such trouble on deciding a destination because we're like, hey, I want to go here, and said, oh, I want to go here, and we just never landed on an option that suits us both. But I'm hoping that he's warming up to Croatia.
I have a friend. She's in a happy relationship now, but she's kind of lucky to got there because in the beginning she almost like kind of blew the guy off because whatever it was, like he would say like, what do you want to do? And she would say, oh, what do you want to do? And he would say, I don't know, what do you want to do? Like she wanted him to like, let's go here for dinner. Let's do this.
She wanted him to make an effort. I would say, just say, I want to do this. I'll take you out. I'll book the table.
That's a good, making the effort and not just being the man.
Follow along. That's just it gets exhausting after a while if someone's just tagging along on your plans because you never know if they really want to do it or if they're just doing it to appease you, and that makes you feel like super. It feels awkward to be that person who only decides things because you feel like you're kind of like stampeding them with your opinions.
So we'll go back to comedy again.
Okay. Let's go back to
again, I'm still learning how to talk to people on interviews, so please bear with me. Bring back to comedy. So you said you sort of like slowed down now because you've been pretty busy with work.
Relationships, friends, and all of that. Yeah.
Would you say like most of the gigs that you do now are they gigs that you're asking for? Like, do you feel like this is kind of going to my point too about a lot of gigs have kind of come your way, which is nice. The benefit.
Not so much right now, like during the spring, just because I've had such a low profile in the latest few months. So now I'm actually having to actively look for them. But I have some gigs lined up, and I think as soon as you get back on track and just like start showing up and being seen and being heard again, people are gonna start asking again.
Do you find that motivates you less to like for me, like comedy is all about the hunt. It's like chasing after things, or at least it was. Like now I've reached a point where I'm happy with what I do. But there was definitely a time where I want to perform everywhere all the time as often as I could. Now it's like just a hunt. And there wasn't a lot like there was just like here you go. Like do you find like does it kind of hurt your motivation a bit? Like if I'm asking this badly, I'll say it like this way. I know a woman who she performed very regularly at one club, and another woman told her like you should go perform other places too, like you've done it a while, and the other one said why? Because I perform here, like I'm off for gigs here, since it was handed to her all the time, she had no motivation to even like really hunt or do anything. Why bother? So do you feel like does it motivate you less to hunt or does it?
No, I think actually I like to hunt a little bit, but it's just that I've been otherwise focused right now. So hopefully I'll get back to the hunt.
Do you have any like ambition with comedy?
Right now, I think I'm just having, I think 2023, damn, that was hard, 2023. A lot of T's in there. No, but I think 2023 is going to be my year of just slowing down. It's time for reflection for me, just seeing where I am, where I fit in the place in my life where I'm at right now, and just like exploring what do I want to do, what do I want to chase, and just think, because I'm fairly happy where I am right now, so I don't feel any need right now to change things.
That's good. It's nice to be content.
But it's also dangerous. Like I don't want to stay here forever. I'm gonna have to work for a future at some point. But I think like having a year to just think about things is a good option as well. Just like not do anything rash.
Are there people that you have saw when you first started that you like they've like since like gone like beyond or they have quit, or do you feel like?
I don't feel left just yet.
Okay.
I think I have a little time before that happens, but I think I'm gonna have to work hard to get back to it.
Yeah, and you are still. I know you have nothing to compare it to, but you are still very fresh in the
I'm super
in the
fresh
game.
still. I can't be that stressed. I mean, I've come so far in such little time, so it feels like me being stressed about it feels kind of rude. It feels like if I give myself a hard time for not reaching further, at this point, it would be just like not appreciating what I've gotten so far.
Right. Well, like going into this, I really didn't know what to expect. I was like, because I want to talk about it, but I was afraid I was going to ask about this, and you would be like, "What are you talking about? I got everything I got because I'm amazing, and I'm a protege." But it's nice to see like, oh, you actually got a head in your sword. That's good.
What do you mean? I'm the best in the world. There's nothing wrong with me.
We all think that here in the Hearts course.
Go on.
We're all socially retarded in our own way.
No, but I like having that little little cheerleader in the back of my head who's just like, no, girl, you're flawless. but I have to be real about it as well.
Well, this is what I'm curious about, because I'm not getting this vibe from you at all. One thing, I've kind of said this a million times, but I think that part of the comics. Mm-hmm. Also, I hate using the word journey to describe anything. It's like, anything, but actually, not a journey, but anyway, that's a pet peeve of mine. But anyway, the part of the comics journey is like when you first start, it's very much like, oh my god, I can't believe I'm here, and you see other comics in the room, and you're like, they're amazing, blah blah. And then after about 6 months, it's like fuck that person. Like why? I got 3 minutes. They're doing 5. Why are they? I'm finding that person, or like, why am I thinking that? Have you had any of that kind of feeling at all, like towards?
Yeah, doesn't everybody? Like everyone.
That's what I'm wondering. Yeah.
I'm not perfect, even though you think so. No. No, but of course I've had the thought like, why are they getting 10 when I'm getting 7 because I've done this for longer, or I feel like I have a better set, but. Ultimately, it's not me who's the judge of that. That's the booker. And if they want to give me 7 minutes, I'll take 7 minutes. And if they want to give me 10, I'll take 10. It's not really up to me, and I just have to go up there and do the best I can.
Yeah, and that's the best attitude to have.
I'm not really competing against other comedians. I feel like I'm more competing against myself. I want to have a better set than I did the last time, or I want to have better jokes, and I want to nail the punchline better than I did last time. So
what motivates that? Like, what gives you that drive to be a little better?
I just want to be liked. No. I don't know, but I think that we're also, like, a lot of comedians, they're also different. So I could never do another comedian's jokes in the way that they do it.
Right.
I could do it in my way, and that could garner laughs, but ultimately, I'm doing my jokes in my style, and that's what I want to be appreciated for. I don't want to be appreciated in comparison to someone else. I want to be appreciated for what I bring to the table. And that's why I don't find that I feel better comparing myself to others, so I try not to do it, because I want to feel good.
Is there more risk of that for you in comedy than in your professional life, or like outside? Like kind of comparing yourself to where you are with others?
I try not to do it wherever I am, but I feel like it's easier to separate myself from others in comedy, because that's such an individual kind of art form. Whereas at work, I'm doing tasks that everybody else is doing. We're doing the same job, and it should be done in a particular way. So it's that way it gets harder to kind of separate yourself from the rest. But in comedy, it's just like, yeah, nobody will do the jokes that I do, because I joke about my own life, my own experiences. And sure, you can retell the jokes, but you're not going to tell them the way I do. You're not going to do the punchline the way that I do. You're not going to feel the way that I do when I make those jokes. You're not going to have that experience that I have with these jokes. So I feel like whatever I'm doing in stand-up is mine.
That's good. It's good to have that self-drive. What about a club? Could you ever see yourself running a club? Or
I did help out a little bit with West Side Comedy. Find that too much work. It took the fun out of it. I just want to perform.
It does that, yes.
I just want to perform and have fun, and that's. I don't like the booking. I don't like the admin of it. I don't like the like invoices or the billing or talking with restaurant owners. I just want to show up, do my thing, and then leave.
I completely understand. I've run a few clubs in the past, and I keep kind of itching my mind of like, maybe I should start. I have an idea for a new one. I was like, do I really want to go through all the work, all the effort? It's so much effort.
It sucks, man. It's just like you get into stand-up because you want to do the performance, and then you kind of get a club because you both want stage time, but you also want to like make something for the business. It just kind of ends up sucking all the fun out of it. So you're just like, oh god, I have to go to this place again, and I have to do that, and I have to talk to people. It's like, oh.
But that's like you say, like a lot of the kind of common feeling about opening club is that you open a club to get more stage time. But anytime I've had a club, the last thing I want is being on stage.
Yeah, because
like I'm happy to have a club.
It just becomes like super weird because then you're gonna be that comedian who always does your own club all the time, and it's not gonna be. It's gonna be more about you than it's gonna be about the club. And I feel like if you want to open a club, it should be about the club.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah.
But I'm also like, if someone wants to open a club to get more stage time, do it. But I'm just not into doing that much work. I don't like working that much.
Who does?
I don't want to work 10, 20 minutes max, get paid, get some beers, and then go home.
Just made me think about Bill Hicks. He's my all-time favorite. Bill Hicks, my all-time favorite comic. Bill Hicks.
Oh, okay.
He had a line where he said, I need 8 hours sleep a day, and 5 at night, and then I'm good. No, 12 a night. He said 12 a night. So you're funny and 5. Yeah.
That sounds good.
It's about me too.
I love that. And then just a few hours on the PlayStation. My dream life.
Every episode, I like to end each episode with an exchange of war stories. So I have a war story for you. You have a war story for me. You can feel free to go first. It can be anything stamp related or anything comes to your mind you want to.
I gave it some good thought, and I'll have 2 stories actually.
Okay.
And I think you were present at one of them.
Okay.
And one was actually here at Mafia, and it was like one of my first gigs here at Mafia, and I did, do you remember my dick joke?
With the microphone?
Yeah, the microphone.
Yes.
And I did that, and then there was this old lady, front row, in a wheelchair, like super old, like halfway into the grave, and she's just like, and it's just so loud because nobody else is laughing at this point. She's just like loudly disagreeing with my joke. And oh my god, I felt terrible. And I was so fresh on the market. Like these were the first months of my stand-up career. So I didn't know how to deal with a heckler yet. I was just like, I just felt so attacked. I was like, I'm just trying to have fun. I'm just trying to make you laugh. And now you've got everybody to hate me. And I could not turn that audience around. It was horrible. I think I quit after 3 minutes. I was like, no, you know what? I'm done. I'm not doing this. I'm off stage.
We've all been there. That's happened.
And then the other story that I had for you was at my friend's wedding. So everybody told me, don't do weddings. Like, whatever you do not do a wedding. And my friend, one of my best friends, asked me to do stand-up at her wedding. And she's my best friend. I can't say no. Like, of course, if that's what she wants, I have to do it. I was the Toastmaster. Like, it's her wedding day. She gets whatever she wants. And I get up there, and I'm fairly drunk at this point as well, because it's a wedding. And I think I did an abortion joke. Right in front of her grandmother and grandfather and like all of the old people.
Who was also in a wheelchair, also went...
Yeah, no, it could have been. No, it was just dead quiet. And oh, that was so awkward. And it was like everybody I know and love, it was just like oofing at that performance.
And what made you think, an abortion joke, that'll kill at a wedding?
Because I know that my friend who got married would enjoy it.
Okay.
And also, I checked it with our other close friend, and I was like, hey, is this okay to say? And he was just like, fuck yeah, love it, do it. And I did it, and we, like the 3 of us, were the only ones who actually thought it was funny. And the rest were just like, yikes. So those are my two worst gigs to date.
Anything best come to mind, like your favorite gig?
Oh, I mean, I love different things about each gig, but I think like one of the gigs that made me feel like best about myself was my first gig at Raw, because I was so nervous. Like I was a wreck beforehand.
Yeah.
And then I just went up and I was shaking like a leaf, and it just went well. And it wasn't necessarily the best performance I've ever done. It just like a load off.
You get through it, yeah. And it's such a big stage.
You get through it, you got out, and my stepdad was there. sports. I got super drunk. We were just having fun. My boyfriend was there. It's like, it was just a good night in general, and I just had a blast.
That's good.
So I think that's one of the nights that I remember most, like stand-up related. But it wasn't necessarily that the gig was the best.
It's also great because I love that like good gigs don't really stay with us. Like a bad gig will stay with us forever.
I know, and that's super bad.
But they're fun. They're awful at the time because they turn into fun stories after.
Yeah, I think that you learn a lot more from the bad gigs than you do from the good ones. Like the good ones are good, of course, and that's why we do it. Like for the sense of accomplishment after. But the bad gigs kind of teaches you more about yourself, more about your material, like why didn't that joke work? You have to think about that. Was it the way I came into it? Was that wrong? Or like, was it the wrong crowd? Or is it just plainly too offensive? Or is it just not a good joke?
Yeah, you have to be able to kill your darlings. I've had so many bits like I love this joke.
But it doesn't
no one else
work,
does. It's just no one will ever think it's as funny as I do. So it just has to go.
It doesn't mean that that the work you do is bad. It just means that joke wasn't the greatest one, maybe. And you have to be able to kind of see that and separate yourself from the joke. Like, it's not me. It's just that joke wasn't so good.
Right. Well, you have to have the balls to actually try it.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
I've retired the dick joke since. I'm not doing that ever.
Well, I feel like you've learned to use a microphone better.
Yeah,
in that
I have.
sense, and that's why you.
It was actually a joke about love, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because he was like, you should hold the mic better. I was like, oh, don't show this to him. Does he watch it? No.
He won't pay attention.
Okay, cool.
No one pays attention. This is just for me.
Oh, okay.
This is not on releases or anything. It's just for my own watch at home. Well, I had one story for you. Now I have two. Now I want to I'll try to make a quick story. So first of all, it's a wedding gig.
Oh, you also had one of those.
I had a wedding gig. So it was Satura Colgren, their comic, had friends. They were looking for an English comic to do their wedding because they had like English guests coming, and it was a Swedish groom and the bride was Eastern European. So looking for an English comic. He recommended me. And then I was going to meet the couple before the wedding, and I talked things through, whatever. But I mean, they're so busy, so it like kept like not happening. Like we can't meet, and it's like I just told them, it'll be fine. I'll come to the wedding, it'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
Yeah. So I never had a chance to meet them.
Afterwards.
Yeah. But it was fun. I never met them before the wedding, but then I showed up to where the reception was. Kind of waited away from the room until they called me. It was time to go in. So I went in. I did my jokes. There was kind of like a big, like, long tables, like in a ring.
Yeah.
No, it's just on one side, and then I saw the bride and groom over there, and they were laughing. It was a good time. It was fun. Then when I was done, I went outside, and then people were coming out, and then the bride and groom came out to say hello and say thanks, and everyone was really happy. The thing is, the groom was well over 2 meters tall. Well over 2 meters tall.
Oh,
He was like very typical Swedish. He was a big guy.
Okay.
The bride was a little person. She was seriously like.
Did you make a dick sucking joke about that?
No, that's the thing. I didn't know because when I actually was performing, they were sitting together at a table. I didn't notice.
Oh, yeah.
Like she's probably sitting on like boosters or whatever. Like, so it wasn't until they actually came out, and all I could say, I was like, and I tried to say anything, and all I could think was, thank God I didn't know this before the wedding, because all I would have thought about were jokes about their size. Right. And then the kind of punchline to that is that I started telling that story on stage. Afterward, I started telling people in the crowd, like, I would have thought of short jokes, such as, and then I started telling jokes like I would have thought of.
Those are good.
Except I had a club called Crossfire at the time. It was a season premiere. I started telling the story about this wedding that I was at, and I looked out in the crowd. She was there. So I immediately just like, I'm not going to tell. I was like, thank God I saw her before.
Singing the... Do you think she would have appreciated it, though?
Not these jokes. No, these jokes are about like stuff.
I don't know what it is about.
The only I don't even remember the joke. The only joke I remember was they'll save money on the honeymoon because she fits in the overhead compartment. Just like stupid shit like that. There was worse stuff about that, but I don't remember them just now.
Oh my God, I think she would have liked it.
I would hope so.
I mean, she knows she's short.
Yeah, well, I would hope so.
Otherwise. But did you had 2 stories, or was
Yeah,
that?
I only had one story with that, but now we went to wedding and I had to tell that story. So the other story, the very short story, it's a long intro. I'll try and make it as short as I can. This is kind of what I do, long story short. So this is about the code of conduct, which I don't know if there's anyone listening who doesn't understand the code of conduct. Just a little background. There was a group of comics in Sweden that wanted to make a list of do's and do nots for comics to follow. To make
Good effort.
a good effort. It would make everyone feel more welcome, more comfortable. It was a nice idea.
Well, it was a good effort, lacking in execution.
Yeah, looking back, there's a lot of things I would have done differently. But at first it was fun because they went very public with it. They went to the media, they went to the comics, and they got lots of likes and kudos. And I think almost everyone involved had good intentions.
Yeah, I think a lot of people who signed the document as well just kind of did it for the optics.
It did seem a
had
bit,
no intention of following up on it.
there was some of it for sure, but I think overall it was a nice idea.
Yeah.
But initially it was very popular. He came out, there were lots of likes and congratulations and kudos. And then Magnus Bettner criticized that. So he went out and said, so he went out and told, he said, any club that will enforce this code will not book me. Like, I'm not going to perform at any of those clubs. And then once he started to criticize it, then everyone started to criticize it, and then it just died. Just pretty much how it went.
But the thing is, Bethany is still doing those clubs who are de facto enforcing it.
But because no one's really enforcing the code.
For any club that's just so we value these things, he'll still perform. It's just that if you have the code of conduct document, it's just gonna get But yeah, go on.
What I want to talk about is the thing that set him off. Like there was the one thing that he might have had a lot of things he was against, but the one thing he was really against was he didn't like the code. All comics should say hello to each other at the club, because he said I don't know everyone and I don't like everyone, so I'm not going to pretend otherwise.
Fair enough.
And then the woman on the kind of code committee, she actually responded to him and said, I'm actually the one who suggested that code because I was at Big Ben not so long ago and no one said hello to me. And this is someone, I'm not going to name names, but she's very sweet. I've known her for, she started before I did, so I've known her forever. Yeah. And I've met her maybe 5 times in 12 years. She's not around. And you know it is. If you go to Big Ben once a month, even just once a month, you see a lot of new faces.
Yeah, definitely.
And there was a time, years ago, there was a time I lived at Big Ben. I was there all the time. And I saw people kind of come and go. I saw new faces all the time. Yeah. And again, I'm not the most social person. I don't mingle. I don't really feel motivated to talk to people that I don't know. But I noticed I had a habit that if it was someone I didn't know, I saw them on stage, and I thought they were funny, then I would go and say hello.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But if I saw them on stage and they were not funny, I would absolutely not go say hello to them. And I thought it's kind of shitty, but I think it's very natural.
I mean, it's a very natural way of handling that situation. But if you don't know them, you don't necessarily want to invade their space either. Yeah,
so I think it's a fairly common thing. So all being said, to hear my story. So when the pandemic hit, so Big Ben again, I used to live there all the time. Then over the years, it was going there less and less. By 2020, when the pandemic hit, I think I went maybe twice at the start of the year, and then I stopped going, and I didn't go at all in 21. So I remember my first time going back, and I'm pretty sure it was in 22. My first time back, I went there by myself on a Thursday. I saw a few people that I kind of knew, but not really that well. So we kind of gave each other like a nod.
Yeah.
And then I went and sat down in the comics corner, and I sat down next to someone in my comic I'd never met before. And again, I didn't know them, so I didn't hey, how are you? Because I didn't know them. And that other comic didn't even I could have been Bruce Willis in Sixth Sense. It could have made ghosts. There's no reaction whatsoever. I was even there. I was right. I was I know this is. And then I waited for my turn to go on stage, and I was 4th or 5th, and it had been pretty quiet. The crowd was a lot of rookies, so it was quiet. And then when I went up, I'm not God's gift to comedy or anything, but I had I probably had more experience. I'm amazing, of course. Of course I'm amazing. But I had more experience than probably all of them and the host combined. So it went much better for me. So I was happy. I had a good set. And so I came back and I sat down in the comics corner, and then that person I sat next to that hadn't acknowledged me at all before, then they looked at me and look me in the eye, like give me a nod, give me a smile. And I kind of laughed to myself, like, I know that works. Like now I have value. Now I exist.
Yeah.
And again, it can be people might say it's a kind of shitty aspect of comedy, but I like it. I think it's.
I hate it when people come up to you after a bad set and then they try to like give you a pep talk. It's like it's not that bad. It's like, yeah, I know.
How do you think it went?
It's like, oh god, I hate that because then you know it's really bad. Like you're here to comfort me. I'm gonna just go home and cry now. Just leave me alone.
No, I think it's fairly. I think it's good. I think it's a good ego thing too. Because I think it's someone on the committee that was so upset that people didn't say hello to her big Ben. I think she kind of had a feeling of, like, I'm a veteran. Like, don't people know who I am? Like, why would they say hello to me? It was like, no, they don't know who you are. That's sort of the point. So
That's why I don't say hello.
yeah, it's very natural. But anyway, that comic that I sat down next to was Fredrika Karlsson. It was actually you. That was the first time we didn't we didn't actually speak to that night, but it was the first interaction. It was where we go, oh, you exist.
How did I do that night?
I probably left before you went on because I'm it was anti-code. Again, the code you're supposed to say for all show. I did my thing. I'm like, get the applause there.
Oh, that's so.
Yeah, but I thought it was very good. When I thought we were going to be on here, I was like, okay, I have to tell this story. Let's get this story.
That's so sweet that you remember that.
Like, it made me laugh. It was I remember that there's that eye contact. Like,
Yeah.
You exist.
I acknowledge you. No, I think I was like super nervous when I started going to Big Ben because I was like, I don't know who to say hi to. I still do that. I was like, if someone's not like seeking eye contact or making a lot of, or taking up a lot of space, I'm just gonna sit there, just do my own thing until they're funny.
Yeah, then you say hello.
So that's a good story. Thank you for including me.
Yeah, sure. Well, thank you very much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
It was very nice.